Now to Kurville, where people came together to comfort and support each other tonight, 1 week after the deadly flooding.
People gathered for a vigil this evening at the Wall of Hope, which is a growing memorial for the victims. A bishop-elect traveled all the way from Virginia to comfort those who need it.
Yeah, it brings us hope, brings us comfort. It also gives us a time to pour out thanksgiving for the lives that are saved. Also gives us a time to give voice to our grief and speak about the cost of what was lost and the pain of life's loss.
And tonight we can tell you the death toll in Kerr County alone has risen to 103 people, up 7 since just yesterday. This includes 36 children.
But that number is expected to grow with more than 160 others still missing tonight. We have team coverage for you tonight, starting with Matt Doherty in Kurville. Matt, you were the only reporter from Houston who got to talk with the Coast Guard about their search efforts.
That's right, Ron. And tonight they are sharing their memories with us of those rescues. The group of Coast Guard officers you see here are without question all heroes. 1 week ago, aviation survival technician Scott Ruskin, aviation maintenance technician Seth Reeves, Lieutenant Blair Ogugiofor, and Lieutenant Ian Hopper spent the 4th of July performing one miracle after another. Nearly 200, in fact, the large majority of them at Camp Mystic. Tell me the one rescue that sticks in your mind when you go to bed every night. What's the one that you're thinking about?
There was one little girl, I don't remember her name, but she was asking me if she could bring her stuffed animal if there was space in the helicopter, and the obvious answer was yes.
For Seth Reeves, it was giving Jolly Ranchers. The lieutenant remembers what they were wearing.
I think I said that over the radio. I was like, hey, I yelled, I was like, hey, why do we have girls getting into the helicopter without shoes on?
For Lieutenant Hopper, it was the girl who reminded him to be a dad.
She's got tears running down her face, and she's scared. Clearly, she may have just lost her sisters. She may have just lost her friends. And I turn around and I give her a thumbs up, and I look in her eyes, and she looks back at me, and she gives me a thumbs up back, and musters a very scared but trying to be brave kind of smile.
Although 1 week has passed, it still feels like hours for the crew since they were swooping into valleys, rappelling on ropes through rushing water in the rain, and carrying the most defenseless and helpless to safety.
We received a phone call and we talked to one of those little girls who, sat on the phone with us and thanked them for being here.
Sometimes it's the sweetest words that are the most difficult to repeat.
The hardest thing I've ever had to do was not only listening to a small child that shouldn't have to know the horrors of a tragedy as this, but to thank us for something they really don't understand.
Now, that Coast Guard crew is actually based in Corpus Christi. They will remain here and assist with the ongoing operations. We're live in Kurville tonight. I'm Matt Doherty, KHOU 11 News.
They saved lives and they continue doing what they can to help. Thank you so much, Matt.
New tonight, family members are sharing tomorrow's procession route for one of the young flooding victims who was from Kingwood. 12-year-old Shiloh Wilson and his parents, Jeff and Amber, were in Kurville for a youth rodeo where Shiloh was competing. All 3 died when their camper was hit by the flood. A procession for Shiloh will enter Waller along Highway 290 around 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, then travel east along the Grand Parkway to Highway 59, where it will turn south toward the Kingwood Funeral Home. President Trump is spending the weekend at his golf club in New Jersey. That's after taking a tour of the flood damage in Kurville today.
He and the First Lady surveyed the damage and met with first responders and families. Orko Manna was there for the visit today as the president faced some tough questions.
We're filled with grief and devastation.
President Donald Trump in Kurville today offering his condolences to those who lost loved ones in the devastating July 4th floods. The president touring some of the hardest hit areas this afternoon, saying he's never seen anything like this. The First Lady wearing the bracelets of young girls they met who survived.
Our nation, we mourn for every single life that was swept away in the flood, and we pray for the families that are left behind. It's amazing the incredible spirit from those families.
But with state and federal leaders in attendance at this roundtable, tough questions were asked about delays with the flood warning system and if that could have saved lives.
Only a very evil person would ask a question like that. I think this has been heroism. This has been incredible, really, the job you've all done. It's easy to sit back and say, oh, what could have happened here or there, you know. Maybe we could have done something differently.
But many residents want answers, so I brought that concern to Senator John Cornyn.
Kerr County officials have tried in the past to get flood warning systems in place, and Texas leaders do not approve that financial door to get that funding. So is that something that we'll be looking into?
I think this tragedy has shocked so many people that I think you'll see a different response this time. But I think what we need to do is come up with the best technology, the best practices to be most effective.
Reporting in Kurville, Orko Manna, KHOU 11 News.
Here in Harris County, officials are vowing to go after anyone who tries to profit off the tragedy with fake GoFundMe pages.
That's after Precinct 1 Constable Alan Rosen says they shut down a GoFundMe created by someone impersonating the father of a Houston flood victim. Maria Aguilera has the warning tonight.
A week since the tragic Hill Country floods.
Be re-victimized by these soulless criminals is just unconscionable.
A crime that strikes when families are in pain and scammers try to cash in. All while one Houston family is still grappling with unimaginable loss. A GoFundMe page popped up claiming to raise money for Chloe Childress. Constable Alan Rosen says the page claimed to be created by her father.
They haven't even buried their daughter yet, and somebody's trying to take advantage of them.
Someone reported the page. Precinct 1 investigators contacted GoFundMe, and within 10 minutes, it was taken down. How much money was raised?
They initially gave, we were able to determine that they gave $1,500 initially, only to discover when we looked into who made the initial donations, those people were dead and had been dead for years.
GoFundMe tells us it has zero tolerance for misuse of the platform or attempts to exploit generosity. The fundraiser was removed, the account permanently banned, and all donations were refunded. During a time when so many Texans are mourning, someone tried to turn heartbreak into profit.
I want to catch these people. I want to make sure that they're brought to justice.
Maria Aguilera, KHOU 11 News.
GoFundMe adds its team is actively monitoring and reviewing all fundraisers tied to the flooding, and verified fundraisers from this tragedy can be found at gofundme.com/TexasFloods.
Meanwhile, we can assure you our flood relief fund is very real. We're joining Tegna stations from across Texas to raise money to support first responders, residents, and families impacted by these floods. Scan the QR code on your phone to donate, and we thank you in advance for standing for Houston, standing for Texas.